What is going on, comic fans? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and it's Sunday. That means this is At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and more. And in this episode, it's going to be taking a very special look at the brand new film from DC Comics, Blue Beetle. We got a fantastic panel of guests coming to discuss the film. But before we do that, check this out. Be sure to check out the homies over at Big Time Collectibles. Follow them on social media and don't miss out on the awesome stuff they're doing, like the gold tier membership box. I'm telling you, fair warning, you don't want to be left out of this one. Huge announcement coming. So let's get into it. Paul, what do you think?
I would agree. You don't ever want to be left out on the BTC, on anything that BTC does.
Or the Blue Beetle talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, for those that don't know, they're the ones that are producing those amazing set of foil logos for the DC stuff, and they have some big news coming. They gave a tease over on social media that there's something Transformers related. If you follow the channel, you know that most of us are big excited about what Image Comics has planned for the upcoming Energon universe and Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers, so I can only assume it has something to do with that, so you probably don't want to miss it if you're a Transformers fan. But let's waste no more time. The stream is going till 10 o'clock tonight. We're going to hard close at 10. Everyone's got stuff to do, and we'll touch on that later, but let's go ahead and roll in the panel. Joining us, reoccurring guest. If you blink, you'll miss him. And if it's daytime, he won't even be there. We got none other than Flash by Night Comics. What is going on, TJ?
What is going on, people of Earth?
That includes me.
Yes, that includes you. Oh, and Scarabs. I almost forgot the Scarabs. People of Earth and Scarabs. So
Paul, unfortunately, is from the next sector over, so sorry, Paul.
I left Paul out. Okay. I'm sorry, Paul. People of Earth and one sector over.
We got another reoccurring guest joining us tonight, and he was a huge fan of the film. He posted on Instagram that he was trying to figure out if this movie is a perfect score for him or not. I'm excited to hear his take on it, hear him break it down. We got none other than Evil Mike from Evil's Comics. What is up?
What it do, everybody?
Nothing much, man. Just living the dream. How are you?
Doing great, man. Happy to be here.
Happy you're here. But it wouldn't be a movie review without some. DJ Links couldn't make it tonight. There's family stuff going on with him. He's got his nephew in town, and Nick's Kicks and Comics, who's typically here for these, is not here either. But we do have one of our most recent reoccurring movie reviewers, none other than Mr. Izzyverse NYC.
Como están, mi hermanos? We got a Spanish movie. Spanish leading movie, mi hermano. Tenemos alguien. Órale. You know, that's from our Mexican friend.
New Yorker is as good as another. So DJ's not here. Izzy's here. He's filling in the void.
We're going to start that New York chat again?
Yeah. What is going on, man? Hope you're doing good tonight. I appreciate you being here. It is, like I said, hard stop at 10 o'clock tonight, so I'm going to go flying through the chat. Las Crucius, what's up? Trev, what is happening? Got the channel members rolling in, throwing those channel emojis. You get access to those from joining the membership. What is going on? Unruly. Happy I got this Blue Beetle popcorn tin. It's pretty rad. Yeah, I've seen there's two different ones. There's one that's like a Scarab and one that's the Beetle car. If you go to AMC, you get the Scarab. Cinemark has the bug. It's really cool. I miss out on any of those. What is going on? Scotty, hope you're doing good tonight. Adventurous Joe's in the building. DJ Links, what's up? What's up? The #1 weekly hangout spot for cool people. Hashtag We Are Legion. Very accurate. Dr. Von Hoot, what is happening? Hoot is right. Collecting with Durs is in the building. What is up, my beautiful? Every time I see Durs pop up in the chat, I just want to hug somebody. I don't know why. He's just such a sweet man. I love him. I
just want to grab an umbrella.
Yeah, it does get moist. Let's hear the Blue Beetle talk so I don't get spoiled. All right, Durs, see you later. All right, as we normally start off the show,
right, he always comes in that way.
Like to go around the horn and just give it your generic rating, whatever rating system you use, and we're just going to go around the circle. Paul, what do you rate the new Blue Beetle movie?
I would give it 9 out of 10 rings.
Not bad, TJ.
I'm going to go. We'll go 9 out of 10 lightning bolts.
It's electric.
Just made that one up on the fly.
It worked. Mike?
I'm going to go with a 9.5 evil thumbs up.
That's a pro score. That's a pro score. He's using decimal points. Izzy, I heard your rating on your...
Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki 9.5, the official Nikki. Izzy, I heard your score on your social media, but go ahead and share what you think now that you're out of the theater. Is it maintained?
It has maintained. So for those of you, I don't go to 10. I do a 5, 1 to 5. So it's gonna get 4 out of 5 Izzy's.
Fantastic. And for those that want to see what a true scale looks like, the original color scale that was absolutely should have been trademarked, that I didn't do that, but the official color scale, this movie is green. Blue Beetle is green. It is in the solid green territory. This was legit, probably it's contending for the best superhero of the year movie for me. The only one that's even in a debate with that would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, just because of like the nostalgic feeling and like all the heartstring stuff. But this just blew me away. It exceeded all expectations for me. I went in low, wasn't expecting much out of it, just to enjoy myself kind of thing. And I walked out just absolutely excited to see it again. Like I cannot wait to see this movie again.
I'll tell you the one regret after walking out of the theaters, I saw it regular screen, and the regret is I should have saw it IMAX. Like that's the legit real regret.
Yeah, I didn't do IMAX. I did the GTX, which is like the IMAX equivalent in the different theater company, like the massive screen.
Mm-hmm.
So it was based same thing. It's actually bigger than our IMAX screen, I think.
It was the first time I went to a movie in a long time that when I came out, I was just happy to see a movie. You know what I mean? Like I've seen all these other movies, you leave with this awe, and like Spider-Verse. When I came out of Spider, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see it. But this one I came out and I was just happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like, it was a fun movie. As I told a friend of mine, it's a paint by numbers movie. That's why I didn't get a full 5. It's a paint by numbers. It is the same story we've seen hundreds of times.
Oh yeah.
But what's wrong with that? You get what I'm saying? That's the point.
Nothing at all. Like everything's been done before. It most certainly has. So it's how you package it and deliver it. Are you still making it enjoyable and fun? If you watch enough movies, they're all repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
They all are. And this is a very generic film. It is an origin story. We pretty much have the classic case of the impoverished family trying to get by and trying to make it. And our main character, Jaime Reyes, it starts with him coming back to meet his family after graduating from college, just to find out the family's in turmoil. The house is on the line. Businesses are closing down. And it's all because of Cord Industries, which is like pretty much like LexCorp pretty much for this film. But Ted
was
Cord,
the building next door.
It really was.
It was the building next door.
Right.
To Cord.
yeah,
Yeah, I want to go to that city though. That city has like the coolest
nice.
lights.
Yeah,
right.
The big industrial
series
much sucked all the life out of the surrounding neighborhoods, and Jaime, by happenstance, ends up getting a job doing like maintenance, more or less, like maid work for Ted Cord's sister, who is the big villain in this movie, Mrs. Cord. I forget her first name, but Susan
Victoria.
Sarandon, Victoria, and she did a solid job. What did y'all think of Susan Sarandon being our main villain in this?
I like her.
She's Susan Sarandon, so she's a legend, right?
Yeah.
Again, back to paint by numbers villain. Nothing really special about her. And they were trying to go a little somewhere, like she was the woman in the house, in the family, that she should have gotten it, but it ended up they gave it to Ted. But no, it's because you're evil, vindictive woman. That's it. Simple.
That's where I'll disagree, because what the villain said, that to me it wasn't the paint by numbers villain story that you usually get. You could say she was like the cliched villain, but then you had the whole, and I don't know how far we're going into spoilers.
Go all the way.
So then you had the OMAC thing, and the OMAC wasn't really a traditional villain. He was just a soldier doing what he was told. I kind of like that it wasn't just like.
I like what they did with him, though. I like the fact that his origin was different. That was a bit of a twist, the way they made the origin. Like, obviously he had like his family, but it wasn't his family. It was him and his mom.
Yeah, like
when I thought, I was like, oh.
So the movie does start off with Susan Sarandon flying into like a dig site, and we get told that they've checked numerous dig sites, and they find these orbs hidden everywhere, and they're looking for the scarab that's inside of one of these orbs. And Lieutenant Carapax is her first in command, and this is a recurring comic character. And he turns out that he is one of those like those child slave army people, and He had a terribly unfortunate life, but they don't reveal that till the end. In the beginning, you see him looking at a locket with a woman and a kid, and I assumed that was his like that's a wife and child he lost.
I think everybody assumed that. They made it.
Yeah, what a great little twist at the end there. But like the movie was dope. Like you see it in the trailer, like Jaime gets a job opportunity at Cord Industries and he goes there just to get there right when crap's hitting the fan. When Ted Cord's daughter, Jennifer Cord, is escaping with the Scarab. She found out that Aunt Cord, what's her name? Victoria is using the Scarab as a power source. She cannot figure out how to unlock it or what it does, but she can siphon power from it, and she's using it to power her OMAC suits. For those that don't know, OMAC is a character created by Jack Kirby in the 70s. So what they did with this is they Easter egged it like the earliest steps in the creation of that. We don't have Brother Eye yet. We don't have OMAC Man Army, but she has this tech that you can put on, and it makes you a one-man army corps. And we get the first little Easter egg of that. So she's not with it. That's what you see in the trailer when she runs out and gives Jaime the box with the Scarab in it and tells him not to open it. And then the movie really just hits a fan and just goes full steam ahead.
Call out to Big Belly Burger.
Big Belly Burger. Yep, that's right.
So what we're saying is that OMAC is Victoria's Secret.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We can move on now.
Observatory meta-human activity construct.
I got my terrible joke. I got my terrible joke for the day.
I wanted the Mohawk.
Well, that's the Mohawk. I think the Mohawk is coming because I don't think if this movie if this movie could become successful, and I'm going to say because we're the ones that are going to have to push it, right? People like us have to, and that's what we're doing. You got very comic selling people. I'm sure more people are going to come out. Go watch this movie. Go watch this movie. That's how it's going to get its buzz, right? Because it's going through a buzz right now. Then we'll get the OMAC, the traditional OMAC. I think this was a nice little. I didn't know the OMAC was in this movie.
No, I had no clue.
You know what I mean? I was like, when they said OMAC, I just went.
Yeah, and they didn't wait. They put it in toward the beginning, and like me and Pops both froze and just looked at each other like, what?
Yeah, when they started talking about the OMAC, and I was like, oh fuck.
No spec, nothing on OMAC.
So what's gonna have to happen is, because they are apparently dead, as well as all the OMAC stuff exploded, there's gonna have to be a second site, right, that has OMAC stuff in it as well. If they're gonna
there's always something. There's always a backup, right?
Victoria or Veronica, whatever her name is, she said it at the end when she's on the helicopter with Jenny. Jenny points out, like, are you going to go save your boy? He's not going to win down there. She goes, I don't need him. That's just another one of my test subjects. Mm-hmm. The real OMAC is just having the data. I just need the raw data. And even then, like, the OMAC is just a project concept. Like how you get there and how you go about making it happen is a whole different thing. This was just the earliest stages of us getting to the actual OMAC.
But she crushed the data too. She crushed that thing that had the data.
Again, then this isn't going to be the route.
Really hold all the data.
She crushed a cell phone. That data could be anywhere.
That data is everywhere, man. That data is everywhere. That's in Google. That's in Microsoft.
They have Cord Industries where they have this set up. She said we just need to get another Gizmo or whatever his name was in this movie. You know, like
that's how they're going to bring Ivo in. They're going to bring Ivo in, and he's going to make from that idea. He's going to make his OMAC, and his OMAC is going to be the one that we know from, or close to the one we know.
Yeah.
Bring amazing.
Now, I have no experience with OMAC, so I'm gonna have to dig and actually find out what OMAC is outside of
versions. There's a lot of versions of it, but
okay,
there's a lot of different versions. But
like I have this idea that it's kind of generic software running robot peacekeeping unit that gets out of hand, something like that.
Batman has a satellite called Brother Eye, and Brother Eye rogue with the artificial intelligence in it, and Brother Eye's satellite is able to activate people on the ground. And
thank you, Batman.
I mean, the title pretty much explains what it is. It's the one-man army corps. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you know what OMAC stands for, you pretty much understand what it is.
What's so cool is how much they took from they really took a lot from Infinite Crisis, because all that's coming from Infinite Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
TJ,
those thoughts and ideas come from there.
there's the Omax that they were battling in the first appearance of Jaime Reyes.
Yeah,
And
so
I read Infinite Crisis once or twice. And I saw the Omax there, but I don't know the origin of them. I guess
The actual origin is just Jack Kirby's 1970s creation. It's one man, the satellite beams him down, and it gives him whatever ability he needs in that instant, whether it be super strength, invulnerability, speed, whatever. I would highly suggest checking out the episode of Batman the Brave and the Bold. It was an animated Batman.
Yeah, I remember that.
Featured a special guest, and the OMAC episode is fire.
Okay.
Super fire. Chris, what's up, man? Have you had a chance to see Blue Beetle yet?
Yes.
What did you think? Where do you rate it? We all went around and scaled it. Where would you scale it?
I just got to draft Jalen Thompson. Done. Okay, 14 picks till my next one. All right. I was watching on my phone. I'm not as positive as all of you are. I can see how it was an HBO movie that got some extra money and brought up to the screen. I think this just went down the checklist of origin superhero movies and checked everything off. You know, you have important family member pass away and then rally around it, and you know, like getting a new power and not knowing what to do with it, and the new power overpowering you and then stepping into it. The one thing is the kid. I'm not sure what his name is. But the kid who played Blue Beetle, I thought he did a very good job. He stepped away from Cobra Kai and did a very good job. He was very believable, and the whole family dynamic was refreshing. The fact that it was not a non-white family was very refreshing. But I give it 3 Maple Leafs out of 5. I still think Guardians and Spider-Verse are the two for me right now. I'm not going to sit here and crap on it because it was a fun film.
Yeah, it was a solid origin for.
It was a fun film, but
touched on that as well. How it definitely was a cookie cutter film.
Yeah,
but it was.
But the shadow of whether this sticks around or not really dampened it for me. Just for me.
And you know what? Being that you're saying that, they made it so that it could fall in the new universe.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly designed it so that this could be in any universe, because they did mention Batman and Superman, and you saw LexCorp, but it was only in name, not in which universe are we talking about.
Yeah, but see, to me, even some of those tropes have been played out. Peacemaker did it first. Peacemaker crapped all over Batman and did it better. So like the whole like crapping on Batman and all that is, again, to me, it was just a little bit of a checklist and went down that way. But the one part that I thought was really, really well, hold on.
Yeah, I thought that
the one thing I thought was excellent was seeing the family rally around, or pardon me, the community at the end rally around the family, bringing meals and that kind of thing, because that's one thing that does happen to families when they lose their home in a fire or whatever. You see the community come out with meals and clothing. So that was one thing that I'm glad that the writers or the director didn't let hit the cutting room floor, that showed up. And there was actually many types of people that were there. Yes, white, black, Spanish, everyone showed up to help this family at the end.
That was emotional scene number 3 for me.
Well, for me, being Hispanic, being a Puerto Rican, a lot of the stuff that you saw were taken directly from our culture, right? So first of all, the music, the fact that, you know, I don't know how familiar you are with some of the artists that were being played, but the minute they play Calle 13, Atrévete, there's a song that plays in the beginning of the movie that is a reggaeton song. I looked at my wife and I was like, I can't believe they're playing Calle 13 on this movie. I can't believe they were
with Motley Crue.
Motley Crue, the Spanish music specifically. They went Luis Miguel. You guys all know Selena.
Yes.
They went with Mariachi Vicente Fernandez, man. These are names that in the Mexican Spanish community, they're household names. And that's what was so cool about it. And then the references, man. Come on, if you're a Spanish kid and you don't know about Vicks Vapor Rub, you're not a Spanish kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They had Sado
This is good
Gigante.
parenting.
I know about Vicks Vapor Rub for different
And the
reasons, but
cricket.
what's the Spanish household connection?
It's like a
to
cure-all.
Vicks?
It's like a cure-all thing.
It's
You
a
know,
cure-all for everything.
it's a
They
cure-all thing. It's like when
like in the movie, she was using it to
using
wake
it to wake him up.
But like
smelling
technically,
salts.
that's not what you use it for. That's kind of
Yeah.
how they use it. It's like
Yeah.
how,
So my father
kinda-
always had a Vicks Vapor Rub next to him, and he would like take it and he just put it on his nose because it has that strong smell.
my first wife was Spanish, and
You put it on the
had
chest.
in every room. It was everywhere. That was her answer
Everywhere,
to
man.
everything. You gotta have it.
I'll tell you what. As a thoroughly non-Hispanic person,
Early.
Thoroughly.
Really?
Check your ancestry.com.
I really enjoy movies and shows where I do get to see and spend time with people and families and cultures that I'm not familiar with. So I can go and see like the I'm pretty sure that Vicks Vapor Rub is kind of like I don't know if anybody
Robitussin.
Robitussin. Never go. All right.
Robitussin.
I was trying to go the long way around to get to it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing.
Yeah,
And,
it's the same thing.
But yeah, I like watching movies and shows with different cultures and people, and to see different things, see how people react, see what I won't say see what they eat, but yeah, just seeing different types of people. I like that kind of thing, and so watching the movie itself, like everyone said, superhero wise, it was a generic superhero story. I think
It really was, but
where,
nothing
where,
wrong with it.
where it excelled for me was the family and the culture aspect of the movie, and everyone needs an Alberto in their life. If they don't, if Jaime's father, he didn't get a whole lot of screen time, but he made the movie for me at several points.
He was Uncle Ben.
Yeah, just kind of being the anchor for the family and knowing that he's not doing great, but as long as the family's okay, as long as everybody else around him is heading in a forward direction, he's okay with things not being great for him.
Yeah, so being the patriarch of the family, right?
Everybody needs an Uncle Rudy. And
Rudy,
yeah. Uncle Rudy was hilarious.
I heard
Rudy awesome.
Actually, I want to touch
aggressively relaxing was praising George Lopez before he saw it, and then after he saw it, it actually held true. And to Chris's point, he touched on the Batman as a fascist joke that was in the trailer, which I thought was cringe as hell. Like, I'm like, oh God, is this going to be one of those movies where it's just like people stuffing politics in here? And it really isn't. And that scene actually played really well.
It made sense.
Character who's like an ultra conspiracy theorist, like he's a prepper, he's a loose cannon, all these things. And he said that he didn't say that out of like a negative stance of Batman. He said it in a way of praising Ted Blue Beetle, who he was a huge fan of. That Ted was
he was
a superhero for the people, which Blue Beetle definitely is. Ted Cord definitely was, and that was his way of like the realization that he was standing in one of his heroes' lair, looking at Blue Beetle's suit for the first time, and someone has the audacity to say the word Batman in here. Batman's fascist.
But that's worked into his whole thing. I mean, his whole thing was conspiracy, right? There's a motive behind everything that people just don't know, and so that was his big thing. And so, for him to say Batman is a fascist, that's not actually surprising to me. I would expect it.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially how he loves Ted Cord, you know what I mean?
And he's rolling around with a signal jammer somewhere in his garage. Like, what? Who has a signal jammer?
He called it the Chespirito. That is a reference to since we're on spoiler talk at the post credits. When if you guys stood after the post credit, you got this really weird scene, this animation thing, right?
Yeah, that is movie earlier.
Yes, that is Chapulín Colorado. So just to let you guys know, you guys know him by the character that's played in The Simpsons. You remember that Beetle, the bug, the Bumblebee Man? That's who he's based out. That's Bumblebee based out of him. Chapulín Colorado is from a guy called El Chavo. That's his theater name, and he is an actor, a Mexican actor, and he created this superhero in the 80s. I think it probably goes back to the 70s, which is called it goes back to the 70s. But I remember as a kid in the 80s, and he was called the Chapulín Colorado, and he was just a stupid superhero. He was just like he was a superhero, but he really wasn't a superhero type of thing.
Cricket.
He's the cricket, yeah. So when they threw that in, especially in the post credits, when I saw that, I was on the floor. So I immediately posted the Instagram picture of it, like this is the new DCU. So if you guys look at it,
it's also another deep cut because he's the first ever televised bug superhero ever in history.
He's kind of like the Tick in a way.
Yeah, because he has a whole moniker. It's all in Spanish, but it's like he flies
before Spider-Man.
No, he's not before Spider-Man.
No. But I think
if we're gonna talk bugs,
the same thing. You're like, wait a minute.
But I think as far as like
bugs, the arachnid was first.
He's like the first Spanish.
I forget what his
character
is. He's the first something.
But he's an actor that does multiple characters. So there's another character called El Chavo. So he does multiple things. So it's like a sketch. He's a sketch comedy guy.
Yeah,
dude, he is hilarious. That stuff he does was so funny back in the day. But the fact that was thrown in again, they went into our culture. They went into the director's a Puerto Rican director. Everything you saw was based out of cultural references that are true, not somebody just say, oh, this is what they do. All that stuff. I remember seeing Maria del Barrio. You know what I'm saying? The soap operas and stuff like that.
What is it, Chris?
One thing, because Izzy's talking about culture. I can remember back when Moon Knight, the director, and the director of Black Adam were kind of like, oh, you guys want like my culture, and then Blue Beetle just flexed all over them. I'm like, you want to talk culture?
They knew what they were doing.
They never sat there and tried to say, hey, if you're Latino, you need to come see this, or hey, this is free. No, it doesn't matter.
I think I actually heard it that they did it. To be honest,
this movie is literally for everybody. Like I don't know. I just don't go into movies. Like I watch everything, and I don't think like, oh, I need to go see a Mexican movie today, or I need to go see. I just go watch movies, and I'm glad to hear that people are having these like cultural revolutions amongst themselves and stuff. But it was a fantastic movie, and if you don't pay attention to that stuff, it didn't seem like it was like a this is only for these people kind of thing. It was a very inclusive film from the lens of Hispanics. It was just like Barbie. That's not an anti-man film. That's like a universal message film through the lens of females. And this felt the same way. Like I didn't feel like an odd man out for being white watching it. It was
right, because I think as long as you can enjoy and appreciate a strong family relationship, doesn't matter what nationality you are.
Yeah.
That's the part that comes through.
Yeah, and I've got a very strong family.
It's like if you like chocolate cake, you like chocolate cake. Maybe then some people have chocolate frosting on it, some people have vanilla frosting on it, whatever. But like if you like the essence of it, you're gonna like it.
The taco.
I'd say that's the biggest thing when we touch base on the culture in this movie is it wasn't forced. It wasn't like
it wasn't forced. It was natural.
It was just a movie through the lens of Hispanic.
It wasn't. I mean, who saw advertisements and I didn't.
Nana was perfect. She was one of those cheesy characters, but Nana, what was great, what I liked about her was two things. One, she always spoke in Spanish no matter what anybody was saying. That's my grandma. My grandma was like that. My mother-in-law was like that.
I'm sitting there in the theater with a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 16-year-old, and Pops. Now, Pops and Emma did not have a problem reading the subtitles. Finn was proud of himself, and he leaned up and said, that said "the," like he's doing sight words in kindergarten, and he pointed out the word "the" on the theater screen. I'm like, it does. So I'm actually sitting there with my hands cupped on his ear with him in my lap, reading the subtitles to him. Now, yay for culture. This is an American-made movie in America. Like, you can do, like, the Avatar thing, you know what I'm saying? And, like, start out a little subtitle to let people know, or, like, what they did with Prey. Like, they started out speaking in Native American, then, like, you get it. They're not speaking English. Now let's keep presenting the movie to the English audience. Like, I would prefer like them do that just for the sake of like, there was a lot of kids there. This is clearly a movie for the entire family. Like, no way that this isn't like my kids were begging me and taking the McFarlanes off the shelf and playing with the Blue Beetle figures all evening tonight. Like they're all in for this character. This hit for them just as hard as it hit for most of us on the panel. They loved it. But the subtitle thing, I get it, awesome. But I think that takes away from it for like the whole family experience thing.
And I don't think in some of the moments the subtitling actually wasn't word for word. I'll tell you that much. But I will say, what I will say is, I don't think you needed to read the subtitles to know what was going on in some of those scenes.
Yeah,
know what they were talking about.
No,
you know what I mean?
My kids needed to know. They're like, "What are they saying?" Because like I didn't, I wouldn't think about it because I'm reading it. But for somebody who doesn't know what they're saying, especially the scene when they were mapping out the island and getting ready to go in. Nana just had her big reveal that she's like an old revolutionist.
When Nana goes full Ridley, that is just.
But it works so well, though. I thought that was going to be easy.
Entire thing, and that scene actually is longer than you would think if you can't read, because my kids weren't asking what everything was until it
the revolution.
Until it did a couple of the scenes that were really long, and they were just speaking Spanish the whole time. They like my kids were like, "What are they saying?" Like they're
period.
Okay, so there's one thing I'd like to touch base on, that there was parts of the movie that didn't feel family friendly. Like, for instance, when he was physically transforming the first time. Bro, I looked left and right. I went and saw it with two other people, and it was tense. It was almost like watching a horror movie, and then like getting the on-screen visuals and stuff. Like, I had kids in the theater, and they
freaking out.
You know, it was a tense moment. But that wasn't the only one. There was actually a couple other scenes, like near the end when he was fighting.
Omac.
Yeah, and it was just like, man, this is right on the edge of like, you know, I could see like, you know, some parents don't, you know, because that beginning scene was almost like a horror movie scene, you know, when he.
You remember Shazam, the first Shazam, how it was ridiculous, friendly, except for that one scene in the office room where the
office scene, that was scary.
Water people,
that was scary. That went horror.
Yeah, you definitely have like that horror moment, and I think that I don't think that's unwarranted in a kids movie. I mean, I watch Fern Gully on.
No, I'm not saying
here. There's
Bambi,
especially from the 80s.
Bambi, yeah, in all sincerity, yeah. If you're not scarring kids, you're not showing them the proper movie.
Let's just be honest. Every studio pushes the envelope when it comes to a couple different scenes. Usually, it's gratuitous violence. You don't get the heavily nude scenes or lovemaking scenes in these type of movies, but the violence and I don't want to say it's par for the course, but
they throw in a couple S words, right? They throw in a couple of those.
There were some S bombs. There was some S bombs. There were no F bombs, but there was an S. There was a couple of moments that the S was thrown out.
But one of the things that I really enjoyed and I thought was done really well is there are movies that cost 3 times more than this, whose special effects were subpar to what was in this movie.
God, yeah, the movie looked good. Like, I could not complain one bit about the special effects. It felt like it matched the tone of the film.
There were special effects in this movie.
Matrix for a few scenes.
The special effects that were in from the Matrix?
I felt a few scenes borrowed from the Matrix where you saw the other suits being created really reminded me of some scenes from the Matrix.
So the neon lights I think was interesting because let's be honest, the buildings didn't really need that, but it kind of threw an aesthetic to the movie, right? So there was some budget in there.
Because this is DC, a lot of these cities are not real world cities, and
it's
like Miami flavor.
So it was Miami, Texas flavor. No one knows exactly where it was.
It said it in the beginning. It said Panamera.
Yeah, Palmyra City, Pago Island, those are fake cities.
Yeah,
those are DC cities.
Made up city.
But they're influenced through Mexican cultures, but it looked more like Miami City.
Yeah.
So real quick, let's touch on the fact that this is like a legacy character, a 3rd generation Blue Beetle here, and they kickstart the Blue Beetle live action franchise with a 3rd generation legacy character. TJ, kicking it over to you.
I want to give a shout out since he's here. I want to give a shout out to Pops, and this is the reason why I said that I was glad that he got to see it with you. I don't know if he knew before he posted. Is it Dan Garrett? Is that the first Beatles name? So his name comes up in the movie, and
Count-
I didn't know who it was. And then I saw Pop's post of his book, and I'm like, oh, so that's who that is. And so I appreciate Pops for giving us the inside scoop and the info, because I didn't know.
And we get to see Dan's suit in full flavor, and you get to get his backstory a bit, how he went missing on the island, the fact that the Scarab chose him first, and we now know that the Scarab left him via his death, and Ted Kord was in possession of it for years after that, unlocking and trying to understand the way it worked. It just unfortunately didn't choose Ted. So Ted, still wanting to do good, took to his strings. He's an inventor, and he took all the resources he had, and he became the Blue Beetle that we know and love. And then he went missing.
Guys, I'm going to take off. Have a good night.
All right, Chris. Good luck with your
see you guys
football.
later.
Good luck, Chris.
The other thing I noticed with Ted is the amount of times they name dropped him, right? To the point that, okay, where's Ted? Where's Ted? Where's Ted? And then you know what I mean? It's just one of those things, like you say his name so many times, you're finally going to get him. And then we finally get that he's been missing. He's alive. When they turned on when they turned on his tech, it activated his signal so he could send a message. What I always thought was interesting, there was only one time we saw an image of Ted, which really wasn't an image. It was kind of like a mosaic of him. And didn't it look a lot like Jason Sudeikis?
Because that's who they had planned to.
So they planned to, right?
Yeah, and supposedly he filmed an end credit scene, but for some reason, and I haven't heard the reason why yet, but for some reason they cut that end credit scene because that's why and I've gone back and tried to listen to it, but the end credit scene that they gave us, I don't think it's a real person's voice. I think it's like
it's a generic voice. It's a generic voice.
Like I don't even think they use an actor's voice for that because they're still unsure. I actually like that. Going into this, I thought we were gonna get Ted Kord, that was kind of known and everything. But then when we actually got like mention of the other Beetle and that whole story, I was like, hell yeah, Not only that, but all the Beetle tech. Like I don't know what his ships is. Is it called Artemis?
The Bug.
Oh, is it the Bug?
Artemis is Watchman.
Yeah.
Archie is the Watchman.
Yeah.
Archie.
But,
no, but I actually liked all that when he was moving around. I thought that was pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. Well, they also mentioned the Promethean mines.
Go ahead.
The Promethean mines. They also mentioned that. That's in reference to Deathstroke. So some good stuff there. I just love the little Deathstroke, Cyborg, the tech behind all that was mentioned in this movie. So again, a lot of Easter eggs that if you're in the know, you know what they are, but at the same time, not fully connected to the previous universe. Because the idea is that if this movie is successful, he goes to the next universe. He's part of the next universe.
I think outside of the 857,000 articles we've gotten that may or may not be real or whatever, I think that James Gunn himself said that the movie isn't in the DCU, but
the character
is. So my assumption, until we don't see him in the next 6 or 7 years, my assumption is that somewhere down the road he's already locked in as a character.
I just hope we get more of this. And I want to touch on Burke's comment here because it ties into what Becker's been saying. It says, I mean, when one suit was missing, it's pretty obvious he was still out there. So I didn't necessarily assume that other mannequin was for Ted Kord because you had Dan Garrett, Ted Kord, Mystery. And I figured it would be for whoever came after Ted. We have the Scarab, we have his daughter.
Well, I think
now wait.
More Blue Beetles.
There is a pillow taped around it to make the mannequin bigger. I felt like that might have been an Easter egg to the comics because Ted Kord gained all that weight where he could barely fit into a suit, so it was almost like he was making an Easter egg.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Oh, that is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what is the thing. My wife draws a picture for Finn on his napkin every day for school, and it just started this school year, and she's going through the Ninja Turtles.
Hell yeah. Raphael.
Yeah. Crushed it.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Nailed it.
So when he wipes his face at school, does he end up with a picture of Michelangelo on his face?
He actually saves them all. That's why she kept doing it. He saved the first one, and so she kept doing it. Now, here's a good point. Like, they have an official Booster Gold movie announced, and you can't do Booster without Ted Cord. So I think that after credit was just. And Pop said this when we were walking out. Like, if the Booster Gold movie does not involve like him meeting up with Ted, rescuing Ted, something, like I don't know.
My full assumption leaving the movie theater is that there's a 75% chance that Ted Cord is actually missing with Booster. They did something happened, they tried something, whatever, and that's why Ted disappeared. Is because he's with Booster. He's with Booster, and something went wrong. That was my assumption leaving out of the movie theater.
So how packed was the theater when y'all went to see it? And what night did y'all go?
So I went Friday morning at 11:30, right after the chat. It was a pretty decent crowd for a Friday morning show. So I would say about 30 people.
Mike?
Yeah, I think that was mine too. I went Saturday morning around 10, and I want to say it was like 30 to 40, something like that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't enough people for the weekend.
No, it wasn't filled.
Which is a real shame.
TJ?
Mine was 6:30 on Friday, and I think I was probably around 30 or 40.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of seats.
Yeah. And I went Saturday. First showing was 12:10, and there was probably about 35 to 40 people there.
We went Saturday at 7, and it's probably about the same, roughly 30 people in an auditorium that holds probably 150.
Yeah.
Like I'm just guessing. I don't know. Maybe it holds that many, but it was under half. I mean, there was a decent crowd in there, but it's not what you would expect at a Saturday night at a theater. But this year's proven that like the box office, the theaters are so weird.
It is weird because people don't have that kind of money like to go to the movies. I'm sorry, it's expensive to go to the movies.
It cost $85 without concessions for us to go.
Well, for me, I get 4 tickets because it's me, my wife, and my 2 girls. We pay for the ticket. So if each ticket is approximately like $16, $17, $18, depending on the theater, that takes a lot out of somebody.
So we bought them online. They have kiosks, and if you're not going to let me talk to a person to buy my ticket, I'm going to buy a senior ticket for my dad, just in case. And now that I know that they didn't,
I've done that too.
I'm going to buy a senior ticket for me next time because I've got an old soul, and that counts for something.
Old soul.
But even that, it's still a lot of money. So for people to go to the movies, there has to be a momentum to it. Blue Beetle didn't have that momentum. I'm sorry, they did not. They did not put the money to market this to the right people because this is
they couldn't do any of the stars go out because that's part of
that's the other part. So
they got caught up with the strike.
The money should have gone in marketing in places like McDonald's or things like that, where Pizza Hut, like the turtles did the pizza. Like market
it still has turtles on the box,
right? So if you market to that is one way. Another way you could have market this to the Spanish community big time. The way it was built and do those references that people would say, oh, that's in there. Oh, that's in there. Let's go to it. This was Telemundo crazy. You know what I mean? You could have gotten a huge Spanish community to just come out in droves, but they didn't do that.
I mean, that's a big thing.
I will say, I was really hyped up when the first trailer dropped, and they used the little Uzi Vert music that emanates from TikTok or whatever, and they use that song, and that's kind of the vibe I thought I would get from it. I was actually pleasantly surprised. There we go. I was pleasantly surprised at all of the Spanish music that was in the film and all of the Spanish influence. But I will say that I wouldn't have guessed that from the trailers.
Mm-hmm. It should have been in the trailers. Like the Spanish music should have been the reggaeton music. You throw in some reggaeton songs, they're gonna come out. Just like the black community came out for Black Panther, right? It came out in such a way that this movie became an instant sell. This would have happened the same way, and they really didn't do that. Maybe because they didn't have faith in it the way had faith in Flash. I'm sorry to say, this movie's not. This movie's better than Flash.
They should have given all the marketing money to this over Flash.
Yeah, you
But I
put
think
the
that was
marketing
a
money in that, it
strategic
would have been
movie,
fine.
and Flash had so much money in it, they needed it to do more of a strategic gamble. With this one, they know, like, they've already seen the writing on the wall with nothing performing. Like, the DC brand is just dead on arrival right now with James Gunn announcing that he's got the new one coming. No one's invested in this. Like, both Marvel and DC have created this atmosphere where a general audience expects this expanding universe where one film builds on the other, and now everyone's in the know that none of this is building. So whether they're like formatting this film to continue on or to be a book into what we have, like no one's invested. Like you mentioned, there's no momentum for it.
And that was something they were trying. I think they tried something by saying it's not from or it's not in the universe, but he's going to be in part of the universe. I think that was the only thing they were trying to do, to say that he matters in some way.
He's only telling people that are going to see it on whether they want to or not already. He's not talking to a general audience. Like, it's not us that necessarily makes these things completely like successful or not. You know, like a general audience isn't following James Gunn on social media.
Yeah,
and I don't know if the general audience is coming out for Blue Beetle either.
No,
that's the other thing is that maybe is Guardians the most obscure big two property
yes
to be successful?
Yes, but it had the Marvel
brand on it.
On it. So just because it had Marvel on it, people went
as good of a character as Blue Beetle was, as well as the story was told, he's still kind of an obscure, unknown character to the public.
But I can bet that this week you will see ads that say go see the #1 movie in America because it's the #1 movie this weekend.
It beat Barbie, and they should run with that. They should run with it.
I've seen it a couple of times too already. How it's taking down Barbie.
They take it out, but granted, Barbie's on its 4th week. It was someone was bound to take it out, right?
Yeah, eventually it had to happen.
It was either going to be Blue Beetle or Strays, and Strays came in 5th place.
Avatar Barbie is not. This was the end of Barbie's run.
Yeah. And Barbie still made money, man, because it was close. It was a close call. 25 to 21.
Highest grossing domestic release ever.
Barbie is. I'm gonna wait till streaming, but I am interested in what Barbie has.
Barbie was fantastic in all areas of the movie. It was goofy, it was quirky, but it managed to bring it. Like, it was just
costumes and sets.
It's hard to look away from it, and you find yourself immersed in it. It was good. But as far as back to Blue Beetle,
I don't want to get too far away.
What did y'all think of the action pieces? Or there was a plenty of scenes with action with him getting in the scarab. Mike touched on it. The transformation at the beginning of him getting into the Blue Beetle suit. You see it in the trailer, but it's a lot longer and a lot more gruesome in the actual movie. As the suit comes over him, it doesn't do it in a traditional sense of an exosuit. This suit is bonded with him on a molecular level. It's like it replaces where his skin is. It's like fuses where his mouth is. And I thought it was awesome that with the mask still shifts when he's talking. It's not like Power Ranger style where their heads are bobbing around and they're making fist motions and stuff. But great fight scenes and flight scenes. What did y'all think of some of that action?
Felt very Iron Man-y. I felt like we're in Iron Man for some weird reason, because that's what I felt like. But the same feeling I got when I saw Iron Man. But I thought the action sequences was amazing. The constructs was so good. When he was making constructs, when he did that blade that's straight out of Final Fantasy, that was awesome.
Yeah, my daughter went to a 10 when that happened. She's like, "Oh, here it is!" And she had seen it in the trailer, but she was just waiting for that because she's a big.
I was waiting for it too. I didn't go to a 10, but I was waiting for that moment too to see what actually happened. And once he made the blade, he and the Scarab brought it.
The staples. Once he started doing the staples, for me, that I like that because
that was nuts, wasn't it? So it was. I thought like the first transformation was really solid. How the suit was going through the system checks and see how it integrated. We do get a good tease of that in the trailer. But that moment that you see when he actually just flies straight up into orbit and just in that theater on that ginormous screen, that's when I'm like, yo, this is insane. Like I maybe want to go see like one of those OG IMAX films where you're just in there looking at like nature and stuff. Because like it made me feel small. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean
I thought it was wicked.
the transformation gives me a new appreciation for when it happens in the comics. It was very comic accurate. His shooting up, what the other thing though, because I was talking about special effects, when he falls back down, I don't know why, but there's this one thing when he falls down and he hits the water and his hand just goes in the water. It's like that's a little tiny thing, but that's just kind of okay. That's a special effects where it's like, you know what, if you're gonna not do special effects, you don't have him interact with the water at all, because then you can just stop, right? And then you can do whatever you want to do, superimpose and whatever you want to do. But he kind of interacts with the water below him, and that was just part of the special effects that I really appreciated.
Yeah. And I think the movie was originally 80 million, and then they boosted when they decided to go to the movies to 125. So
Yeah,
it was the original plan was 80 million. And then they gave it more money. They put it to 125, which is still modest in this day and age. That's modest.
That's ridiculously modest. Izzy, real quick, John Malo wants to know, Mark, question, on a scale of 1 to 10, what grade do you give Blue Beetle? Will you hit him with the pointer, please, sir? Right there to Izzy's other way. Right there, green. That's it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a green. For sure.
We had a couple 9s, a 9.5.
Got a 4 out of 5 for me.
5.
Yeah, which is your definitions of 8 to 9.
Comic Vet popped in, gave it a 7 out of 10, a 3.5 out of 5. All right, so yeah, to this watch and learn Jaime. So like the first true test of the suit with Jaime was when him and Jennifer attempt to go back to Cord Industries to go steal a key so they can gain access to the MacGuffin. And they run into Carapax for the first time. And this is Carapax who's been augmented as they've been trying to study the Scarab. They've been like doing little steps along the way to get to the OMAC suit, the one-man army corps. And Carapax cuts him off and gets into a fight. And he's attempting to try to reason with Carapax. And I thought that was really awesome that he kept wanting to talk to him. He just has this assumption that he can get through to this guy. Like he just has this just built-in level of like positive quality about Jaime. Like you can't fathom someone being so ruthless as Carapax is. Like, why can't I talk to him? And Carapax just starts beasting him, and he has to relinquish controls of the Scarab to the Scarab, and it just says "Watch and learn, Jaime," and it just turns up. It was wicked. It just started walking the dog on him, and it was about to kill him, and Jaime had to stop it and tell him, "We don't kill." And I thought that was really cool because it plays into the end.
It comes back.
I love that part. I love it. When it came back around, I loved it.
But it just shows that this isn't a guy in a suit. This is a living entity that is now one with Jaime.
Well, it's kind of like a Venom thing, right? It's like a Venom symbiote thing in a weird way, where it's like it's not that he's Blue Beetle, it's that they're Blue Beetle in a way. But he controls the Scarab, but the Scarab controls his actions equally as well, right? So it's nice that the Scarab towards the end, I forgot the name. What's the name of the Scarab afterwards? How it becomes now, I'm going to be good while you're starting to go to the dark side, pretty much. And is again one of those things that it's normal, but in this particular instance, he loses control and the Scarab brings him back.
We're not killers, Jaime.
Yeah, along the way.
I was what?
So for context, if there's people who haven't seen it or trying to know they're not going to make it till later and don't care for spoilers, he barely gets out alive from that first fight with Carapax. Rudy, George Lopez, steps in and knocks Carapax off of him. They get away, and they end up traveling to Jennifer's dad's house, Ted Cord's house, where they go in and see the Blue Beetle lair and all this and all that. And while they're doing that, what's her name? Veronica, Victoria.
Veronica.
Veronica. Now you got me saying Veronica. It's Victoria.
Victoria.
And Carapax
V-name. You know what I'm saying?
They move in on Jaime's family, and like they show up and they go in storming with the SWAT team and everything, and they catch their house on fire. They have them all out on their knees at gunpoint, and they're sitting there threatening them. Where is it? Where is it? And you just see a blue light in the sky, like a star falling to earth. You're just like, oh snap! And like you get the whole cool rooftop scene of Jaime knowing his family's in trouble and trying to turn the suit on and just trusting his instinct and jumping off the roof and just watching it just melt his clothes off, and he takes off, and you have these like blue circular orbs that like come off of him as he flies. Like the style of the special effects, like, it makes his flight unique and different than just a trailing light behind him or fire coming out of his back. Like, they did really well with that kind of stuff. But he comes in and saves his family, and he starts pulling out some weapons for the first time.
That scene by itself was intense, man, because that scene reminded me of, this is going way back a few years, the Elian Gonzalez, when when they were taking him back to Cuba, where you saw all the soldiers come in. So there was like a little bit of reality in that scene, where it's like people, all these soldiers are coming in to take this immigrant family, which that's what it felt like watching it. I was like, man, that's rough, man. Someone sees that and like, you get some kind of fear, because that there is a fear in that, when it comes to that. I want to see an OMAC movie, of course. A real OMAC movie, like Brother Eye OMAC stuff. But that scene was so intense, and it was scary, because there's a little bit of reality in that scene. You know what I mean? And that's the point. And afterwards, when you see him coming in, it's like, oh, you're gonna fight my family. Now I'm really gonna let loose, and I'm gonna let the Scarab take control. And that's exactly what he ended up doing.
And to follow up on that, at the beginning of the stream, I kind of said that everybody needs an Alberto. When his dad was no way of actually protecting the family, but when his dad was outside and he told everybody not to say anything, and he put himself like in front of that. Everybody needs an Alberto. That's all I'm saying.
In the restaurant, when he gave the 20% tip, that was something.
Yeah, he was a real emotional link for me. Him and all of his discussions with Jaime and your journey isn't
the Uncle Ben. He was the Uncle Ben in the movie.
Yeah, because this is the moment where it became an emotional point for everybody, because his father was revealed that while Jaime was off at college, his dad did have a heart attack. So he promises he's all good, but during the moments of this scene, trying to get his family away from this fight with Blue Beetle, fighting off all the SWAT and getting his family, he has another heart attack and he falls dead. Blue Beetle gets got by Carapax and Victoria. Yes. They had a device that was able to nab him, because they're familiar with the Scarab. They're familiar with making tech to disrupt it, and they were able to get their hands on Jaime, and they got him out of there. But he was unable to get to his father, and his father laid there and died. Paramedics got there, could not resuscitate him, and that's where we get the family having that moment of needing to come together, because they're left standing there with the father dead, the house burnt down, and this is when Nana comes up and says, "All right, we're all sad. We don't
it's
have
not time to cry. This is not time to cry.
Of grieving. Your father would want us to go rescue Jaime, so let's go do that." And this is pretty cool. This is where like the movie kind of opens up, because we've been spending this time with these characters like Carapax and everything, and we get to see her on the island now. Victoria is on the island. She has Jaime, has him hooked up to this machine. The Scarab is bonded with somebody. She has full access to its energy output, and she's going to siphon it off to use for an energy source for her OMAC suits, which I thought was awesome, that she didn't need an unlimited ongoing supply. She just needed that spark. If she could get the energy point high enough and get them activated, they're good to go. And it's revealed that it's going to kill them to do it. She doesn't care. Back at Fort Reyes, what's her name?
Sanchez.
Jennifer takes them to her dad's house, and they start looking at his weapons and all of his tools and tech, and they get in the bug, which they showed for a brief time in the trailer. But man, that moment, dude, I was smiling ear to ear. Like, I couldn't get more excited, because I was in the theater watching the bug take off and the family in there and have a plan, and they're going to go get him and everything. It was awesome. And that moment on the island where you see Carapax looking at the locket again, and you see as the energy hits him and his OMAC suit, the pieces that he has, the prosthetic arm, the helmet and shoulder plates, you see it actually start expanding, getting bigger, and fusing with his body like the Scarab did with Jaime. So he's completely OMAC now, like it's part of him. And this suit is his exo suit now. And the family is storming the castle, and Jaime is next to death. And this is where like I had my first of two major emotional moments, is when Jaime has a near-death experience as his life's fading. Mike, you want to touch on this one?
Yeah, same for me when he goes around that corridor and you see all those candles and everything. Because really, wasn't that the first time when he like got to actually connect with his dad at that moment? You know, because
Yeah,
during
he
the
last he
time when,
saw his dad, he was dying.
yeah, and he really, I mean, from that moment past there, he didn't have that time to grieve and everything. He was
And
going
he
through
didn't
all
know
this.
anything that happened prior either.
I say
Yeah.
that scene caught me off guard. When he was going around the corner, that's not what I expected. I thought they were going to go somewhere else, and then all you saw were the candles, and I was like, "Oh, I know exactly where they're going."
Yeah, I don't know if you caught it. Well, for one, I thought that Dan Garrett was going to be in there as somebody else who had bonded
That's
with the
where
scarab.
I thought it was going to go.
I think they made the right choice because all those candles, I don't know if you caught it, but early in the very beginning of the movie, Nana was watching the TV and she was flipping through the channels. And one of the channels she flipped to for a brief second was exactly what Jaime's dad was doing. It was a person sitting in the caverns with all the candles. So
I do
when,
remember there was that
so
one.
when he turns the corner of the house and his dad's sitting there, and when Jaime just like his voice cracks, he's like, "Well, why are you here?" And he's like, "You know, son, you know." And I'm just like, "Oh God."
That's the first scene that really got me. And
That was his
honestly,
Coco moment.
if they would have
Yes.
kept it going for like a little longer, I might have bawled in the theater. It was right there because they had already. I mean, the character development and everything was there, but they just didn't keep it there long enough. You know what I'm saying? It was there
But they
just to
did it with Carpax. They did it with Carpax afterwards.
yeah,
They did
yeah.
the same thing with Carpax.
That was just amazing. Like the conversation he had about this is your purpose. This was why I was here. Like
That's
I'm
yeah,
meant
that
I'm
whole
meant to be here
speech.
to talk to you in this moment to let you
This
know
right
it's
here.
not your time. And when he's like he just gets that look of determination. He looks up at Kanji. He's like, "Let's go." And
Because Paul said it right. He's basically his Uncle Ben, but I got to give it to him because his speech that he gave during that moment was completely different from, every other hero speech that we got. But
Yeah.
man, you talk about the speech that you needed in that moment. Yeah, I mean, it was a great speech. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And,
Like I said,
and,
it
it,
was his
and,
Uncle Ben,
and
but like you said, it wasn't a great power, great responsibility moment. It was
yeah.
more like this is who you are, this is who you're becoming to be. It's more like you're becoming the man you're always supposed to be, type of thing. You're finding your destiny, that kind of speech,
it was
which
like
and,
a
really worked.
trust your path kind of thing, like trust
Yeah,
your path.
exactly.
and,
But
and, and it built off their first conversation because their first conversation was about who Jaime is supposed to be and his path and his journey, and his dad not knowing what his journey is supposed to be, but he's gonna continue to walk it as long as he handles his responsibilities. So it's the second half of the conversation they had, only the right time, right moment.
yeah.
Mhm.
And when he got back to Kanji inside of this near death experience, he woke up in that device that was holding him and draining him, which I was wanting to see him go like beast mode and remove himself from that device. But we didn't see that because at the same time of this happening, his family is there to save him. They are shutting down the power and sneaking around the premises. They've come in with a big pizzazz riding the bug and causing all kind of ruckus. And they turn the power off, so he's able to get out. Right as Carapax is getting transformed for the first time, and he gets out and he is on a mission because he has he has his own hallway scene in this, like legit goes on the list of hallway scenes, and it's like to a fan. I think it was Cypress Hill playing at the time. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
Yeah, Cypress Hill.
Yeah,
It was Cypress
it
Hill.
he was walking through the hallway wrecking people like with anger, like the choreography, the fighting and everything was
Let's not to forget the family were doing the same thing. Like his sister, when
Yeah.
she had the Nintendo Power Glove, which I love.
I love that. Did you notice that all of Ted's Cord stuff was all like the map device that she was using was an old Game Boy Color with the damn Game Boy
He's like a
Light,
4-man Batman, right?
the Power Glove. What was it called? The Bug Shield, but
Yeah.
the
Nintendo Power Glove.
the actual the badass gun that Granny had. It was like it was from He-Man. It's the damn thing that
The battle
it
axe.
was the key.
The little musical key thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the key from like all that stuff is all like old. All that stuff is all movie reference and all video game
I love
tech.
when they looked at Nana and it's like, how do you know how to use that? And she's like,
Doot, doot, doot.
but I like the fact that they threw that little thing that she has a backstory So did they just feel that's because normally in the trailer it
They
just
went
looks
too
dumb.
hard with it.
It looked dumb, right?
It got really over campy to me, and they leaned too much into it. But it was funny. I found myself laughing. But if anything in that movie went too far, it was definitely her, that character right there. They took the joke and they did it over and over.
I think they may have gone a little bit over having both Nana and Rudy be these two characters with this wild background that just so happens to come in handy. Maybe
Rudy
having
was
one
he was supposed to be, you know.
Whatever they touch.
But I'm not going to complain. I was like maybe it's a bit too far, but we're having fun. Let's roll.
Rudy was one of these guys, right? That he was such a conspiracy theorist, but then he understood technology, and then when he gets to Blue Beetle's lair, he kind of knew where everything was. So you had to what's the word that you normally use, that you have to just go with it at the end of the day, but
the willing suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go.
You had to go there.
Everything in Ted Kord's hideout was definitely dated. He had been gone for a while, and Rudy was clearly on the cutting edge floor as he mapped out and explained the entire security grid of Kord Towers without ever seeing it and being ready for it. So like that right there, after that scene earlier, you're like, okay, we have okayed this man. Rudy has clearance.
He's legit.
You're good, my guy. You showed your card. You're clear. Access granted. Like
I want to touch base on that, because that was actually the best surprises for me, was George Lopez's character in a whole, because he wasn't really the comedic relief that I was expecting him to be. He was a main part of the movie, but they didn't really use him like that, like a well-known comedian. Like, because I kind of figured that's what he was going to be. He was going to be like, the quip guy or the pun guy, or but he actually turned out to be, a really cool and intricate part of the story. I thought that was actually,
I looked at my dad halfway through the film and said, I want a McFarlane figure of him now.
Rudy
his boots and his shorts
with Taco.
Yeah, we want a Batmobile with the Flash. If you can't put Taco, we need a Taco.
I love how he could never
fat Blue Beetle.
They can do a whole line of them, and you have to build the Taco.
Exactly. What I loved about Rudy too is that he could never break off his character. So when they gave him the new Taco, he's like, "Let me learn to love it." Like,
no, he's like, it's blue, a little bit on the nose. You think, hey, come on, help me love it. Help me love it.
So he would never admit to it. That's the best part of it.
They use him as a huge plot device too at the end, because after Blue Beetle gets out and he's fighting his way out, like Carapax catches up to him. We get a slobber knocker of a fight between Carapax and Blue Beetle. It takes to the sky
because we thought Rudy was gone.
They disable each other, and while they're fighting, there's a point where Blue Beetle is getting beasted, because as the Scarab points out, says he is not the same person we fought before. He is stronger. We're going to have to do something here, and he's getting beat. Like, the suit's getting busted, half his face is exposed, and Rudy distracts Carapax, and Carapax puts up the cannon and shoots him, and Jaime thinks he just lost another family member to these people, and he sees red. At this point, and since the earlier fight, he's kept in control of the Scarab, and he just goes savage. Like they say at the beginning of this is a world-ending weapon. It is a world-destroying weapon that he has fused to him, and you see him just see red and just energy fusing off of him. He just takes to the sky and just lets loose and like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. Yeah. And then he just stays on top of him, beating him, pins his arms down, pulls his blades out, and he goes to stab him in the face, and it stops right at his eyeball. And you think like he was the bigger man, but no, he's like, "What are you doing?" And Kanji says,
"We're not killers, Jaime.
We're not killers, Jaime."
That's awesome.
Like Kanji recognized like what's happening in this moment, process it. Yeah, he kept trying to push. He kept but dude, that scene was fantastic. She said, when we linked and he gained access, I saw everything. I understand him now. Let me show you. And it flashes back, and I was not expecting this, but you get to see his life in reverse, all the way to the point of being like in what is it?
Guatemala.
Like,
they were in Guatemala.
He's like one of the kids that were forced into army labor and stuff like this. You see where Victoria was bombing the area and everything, and picking kids up and picking people up to use as trial experiment people. And he was an unfortunate kid of it. And his mom died in some of the bombings that she did. And he had suppressed all of those memories over the years, but he remembered. And like Kanji allowed him to remember. And after that moment, when he gets up, he understands what he was taking from Jaime. And Jaime told him face to face, he said, "You've been telling me that my love for my family is my weakness, but it's what makes me strong." And Carapax doesn't say a word. He's processing it. He looks over at Victoria, and he walks over to her, and she's telling him to kill him and this and that. And he reaches in her pocket and gets his locket. This scene was awesome, played so well. He just starts glowing bright, and Jaime asks, "Scared, what's he doing?" "He's overcharging his suit. I suggest we run."
We get out of here.
No, look, because so Jaime's dad. This is one of my favorite parts of the movie. So Jaime's dad in the afterlife. So Jaime, it's not your time. You have to go back and live your purpose. Carapax's mom shows up and says, "It's time to come home." I was like, "Oh, she is through." It's time to come home. I'm like, "Lady, you are done."
He's sitting there. He gets the locket. He starts charging his suit. She asks him what he's doing, and he's seeing these visions. He's having the near-death experience, and he's seeing his mom walk up to him and just says, "It's time to come home. It's time to come home now." And I'm just
whatever begging Victoria was gonna do after mom showed up and said it's time to come home, it's done. It's done.
He did it in the right fashion. He just reached over, grabbed her, and walked into the fire. I was like, hell yeah!
That was the craziest part. Like the way that actor played it so straight face and kind of quiet type. Like it was all body language. Like you could just look on his face and you can feel the pain that he had in those memories. You can just see what he was about to do. And he looks at her and tells her the same thing she kept telling him through all these tests. Without sacrifice. What was it like? Great sacrifice.
Sacrifices must be made for the greater good.
Greater good, yeah.
He grabs her and just starts walking into the flaming ruins of the island and walks her while she's alive into the fire and then just lets it blow.
That was his way of saying, "Yeah, you died too.
You're dead."
Yeah.
We didn't talk a lot about some of the supporting cast like Jenny or Dr. Sanchez. That's not my name, which was so meta to if you guys watch What We Do in the Shadows, that is so meta to that moment. The fact that they call him Gizmo, his actual name is Guillermo, but his real last name was De La Cruz, and in this movie his name was it was Jose Lopez Morales De La Cruz, and they just went there. They literally just went there with him. Oh my goodness, he didn't get much lines. You could tell he was gonna turn on her sooner or later. And so like, you're gonna kill her? He's like, my name is not. But that was so perfect that she didn't know his name, and he just went with it. It's just like they do in the show.
It was
I love that.
It was a cool ending. We get like the little like the very stereotypical ending with all of them at the house, like looking at rebuilding it, the community coming together, Jenny showing up and talking to Jaime and them doing a kiss and flying off all together and everything. And then we get the whole little after scene credit where the camera goes. Go ahead, Mike.
I gotta hop off real quick. I gotta go get ready for
Sorry. Do it, bro. Oh, you're all set.
I live, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
We get the first after credit scene where it goes back into Ted Kord's lair to his monitor screen where a transmission is coming through, and it's the voice of none other than Ted Kord saying, "Someone get this message to Jenny. Let her know her dad is alive. Ted Kord is alive." So it confirmed Ted Kord's alive, but they never show him. But that was perfectly fine. Focus on Jaime in this because if this moves forward, like any style or tradition of the character in the comics or anything, Jaime has no clue what he's doing still. Jaime needs Ted Kord. He needs that mentor. He needs that person with the resources to protect him and his family, to teach him what it means to have the dual identity, be a hero, all this stuff, and to give him the knowledge about the scarab that he'll never be able to figure out on his own because he's not a hyper intellect like Ted Kord is and stuff. So that was super dope.
It really was DC's version of Spider-Man in that way, where you have this young character who is coming of age, his family. We got the Uncle Ben scene. We got Ted Kord is going to serve as Iron Man, did in Homecoming. sooner or later. Because if we ever get that, which I hope we do, I do want a sequel. I want to see Blue Beetle 2, and I want to see Ted Core, hopefully Jason Sudeikis, because I can see it perfectly. That's going to be his purpose, is to be that mentor figure for Hyman. Again, it could be cookie cutter. I don't care. If it's cookie cutter and it worked, then let it be. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Even to that point with the kiss with Jenny, that was cookie cutter. Really? Did they need to make out? No, but what the hell? Might as well. Let's have a good end story at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we touched on the Booster Gold potential connections and stuff earlier as well. TJ had the best one, in my opinion, that Ted Cord is missing with Booster currently from their that would be so on the money.
Booster, in my mind, Booster met Ted 8-9 years ago. Whenever he went missing, they were doing something and something went wrong, and that's why he's missing.
If Booster Gold was with Ted Cord, then I would think that when that message came through, you would hear somebody in the background saying, "Did you get through? Did you get through? Did you get through?"
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Let's see, I didn't see Beetle, but have been seeing it's DC's Ant-Man guy get suit and fight similar big bad with evil suit and fights to save family. I think that's Iron Man's plot, right?
I saw a video. Where minus a couple of points. I do think it's Ant-Man-ish with Blue Beetle taking the original, well, I guess the second Blue Beetle's place, kind of like Scott Lang took Pym's place, and a couple of other similarities. I think
to be fair, if you're going to do any kind of accuracy to these characters, to their comic books, you're going to see those repetitive tropes.
It's taking elements from other movies too.
Original in nature, they're superheroes. Superheroes are typically made from a certain reason, a form, a formula. So, you fall in toxic ways, or you get bitten by something, or you get a suit. Like there's only so many ways to be.
And the difference between Ant-Man and a Blue Beetle, I don't compare it to Ant-Man because Blue Beetle is a naturally good person. Like Jaime Reyes, he's a kid that just came out of college. He has a future ahead of him. He's not a bad kid. He didn't do anything wrong. He's just the guy that's in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong place to be somewhere.
But the generic formula tropes for sure.
Yeah, it's a very generic formula. So there's a lot of the same thing. Like I said, it's very paint by number superhero origin story. There's some Shazam in there too. If you look at Shazam, there's a little bit of Shazam in there.
When he jumped off the roof at Ted Cord's place, I said Shazam out loud.
I'm happy
all he needed was a lightning bolt.
But you know what I will say, what I do like about that scene is that they didn't give us the he's falling scene in that moment. He jumps and he turns into Blue Beetle.
As soon as he jumps, the scanner's like, all right, I see what you're doing. Let's go.
He's falling in the suit, catching him at the last minute is the same thing as Iron Man falling in the suit, catching him at the last minute. Before that, the same thing as the airplane diving and be pulling up at the last minute. Like even Spider-Man. Iron Man, that wasn't original. I mean, that's like even take it back up before the superheroes. That's just a classic, exciting adventure trope. You're falling, you catch it the last minute. It's just
he's just a kid that just got some superpowers, and he has to learn how to deal with it. And then someone's trying to take it away from him. That's it.
Yeah, but it was super solid. And the fact that they brought in the concept of OMAC to build on that, like that's huge in my mind. Mm-hmm. You can do so much cool stuff with that. Like there's no Brother Eye yet. It's just a concept they want to do. They want to make a one-man army and they want to call it OMAC. Like let's see where that goes. Let's see where that goes. That would be dope. But I think we're going to get close to the end here. We're going to wrap it up. Like I said, hard stop at 10 o'clock tonight. We all got stuff we got to do. I got to work tomorrow. My man Trev, the shipping guru, is going to do a live stream tonight at 10 o'clock. So we can all head over there from here if you want. But let's go around the horn real quick because there's a lot of cool stuff coming. I do want to remind everyone I am giving away this amazing Catwoman Nathan Zerdy 47. It was donated by none other than my homie right here, Headquake Jr. Check out his YouTube channel. Be sure to give him a subscribe. He's getting what? Yeah, he's getting close to hitting 100 subscribers. And let's help him get there. If you watch tomorrow's video, it's part 8 of my graded comic collection. All you gotta do is watch that. It tells you how to enter to win. And that video series is going strong, and there's a few more left in the tank too. But check it out. Check it out. They got a fun video planned for Wednesday as well. If you were here to this stream early talking to the panelists, you saw the thumbnail for it already. It's
9 away from 100.
And who asked for this? It was what was the thumbnail called? I already forgot what I already recorded it. It's something and who asked something. Hell yes, and who asked for this? But it's not what you think.
And if you're a subscriber to this channel, you get to see all that stuff early too. So you should subscribe to the channel while you're thinking about it too. So
that's actually the membership. You should subscribe, but if you hit that join button down below, you can make out like a bandit, just like Burt Family 54 did last month. He just posted a video just this evening showing the massive win he got for being a channel member, but it also gets you early access to content as well as custom emojis, loyalty badges, all kinds of cool stuff, as well as free shipping worldwide if you win any of the numerous constant giveaways that I do. And a lot of times when I'm on other people's stream, if you're international, I offer to pay for your shipping if it would exclude you from being in that giveaway as well.
Yes.
Oh, what do you got going on?
Tomorrow morning, once again, 10 o'clock, we will have our newest DC Comics deep dive. This is week 7 of Night Terrors. We're coming to the end. And then on September 6th, we will have a special live edition of DC Comics Deep Dive Wednesday, September 6th at 9 o'clock. We'll be talking about the entire Night Terrors saga and kind of putting a nice bow on it. If you're interested in joining the chat, let us know because we want everybody's opinion. But we will also have a giveaway. So comment on any of the videos that are out there for a chance to win the giveaway. And then also we will have a giveaway to someone in the live chat as well. So lots of stuff coming up.
Adventure Show, that would be fun, but that would take a tremendous amount of time. I'm not sure if you remember how many names are on that wheel. TJ, what's going on in the world of Flash by Night?
I have a channel win from Eman, Eman's World of Geek.
Oh, cool.
Which I should stop avoiding opening this box and put it on the channel. So I'm gonna open that sometime soon and put that on the channel. Also, I've been going strong with my Jed McKay Moon Knight revamp. I don't think revamp's the word. But I've been going back through Jed McKay's Moon Knight each week to cover an issue as we're leading up to the last days of Moon Knight, which I think is issue 30. I want to say issue 30 of Moon Knight is the last issue. And so that'll be up hopefully by tomorrow, if not by Tuesday. It's been kind of popular. I wanted to kind of go through it as we're kind of wrapping up. And I wanted to reread. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to reread, I'll share with everybody else. And so that's what we're doing.
Izzy, tomorrow's the pool list, is it not?
Yep, pool list starts at 6:30. Ahsoka's going to be one of the main topics that we're going to talk about because it comes out this Wednesday, I believe.
They pushed it up to Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it's got
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock on Wednesday. It's Ahsoka, so we're gonna do a preview. We're gonna do a preview, talk a little bit about it. Josh is, as you don't know, Josh is back. So he's my Star Wars guy. So he's gonna be able to tell you a little bit about everything Star Wars and everything prior to Ahsoka. So Rebels, Clone Wars, all that fun stuff. Grand Admiral Thrawn. We'll also look into what's trending this week because there's a lot of Deadpool spec going on. Lots of Deadpool spec, and Taylor Swift is very popular these days in the comic community. So get your Dazzler comics ready if you got them. So we'll do that tomorrow. And then during the weekend, we're going to be out in the Bronx Comic Anime Show. DJ Lynx is going to be part of it. So we'll make sure we'll have some live streams.
Did you say anime show and DJ Lynx?
It's Bronx Comics and Anime Show. Oh, there will be an anime. Yeah, there is comics involved here. Yeah. So we're gonna be there along with some other YouTubers. You may know Erod and so forth. So we'll be there. We'll do some live streams. We'll try to put some stuff out there for a little bit for you guys to see what's going on. It's a fun show. I'm looking forward to it. Big thing. So that's what's happening this week over at Izzyverse. We're still working on getting that 2K, guys, and I have so much I want to give away. So I got to get that 2K mark. So let's get there, guys.
That's fantastic. We're about to hit 3K over here as well. I think I'm like 20 away or something like that. Like I haven't been pushing it too heavy because I haven't like already. Typically, if I have like what I'm going to give away planned, I'll push it heavier. But no, I'm going to be doing a big giveaway celebration for that as well. And also, lastly, and I wish I would have mentioned this earlier, but Comicx Curing Cancer 2023 has the official October 20th through 22nd. Please set your calendars. It's going to be a huge weekend. You can hit that QR scanner right there to get information. You can go follow the IG page. Got that set up now, so you can message it directly if you have any ideas or donations. That's really what we're looking for right now, are just straight donation items, comics, key comics, graded comics, runs, whatever you can think to spare to donate. That would be great. If you're a content creator, spread the word. If you are local to any shops, let them know about Comicx Curing Cancer. Point them in the direction of the page. It will show them that it's a no middleman. It's straight, like it's not sponsored, but it's a officially recognized event by the American Cancer Society, and all that kind of stuff matters. That people that want to donate bigger items, let them know that we do have tax forms, so you can write off the donation forms and stuff. And we're trying to make it big this year. So we're trying to. It was did 22,000 last year. We're trying to make it even bigger this year. So we'll see how it plays out. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out and talking some Blue Beetle with us. If you haven't seen it yet, I hope we convince you to go check it out, because it was
see it, guys. We needed to make this money.
We need to get movie theaters to make money. Just remember, go see it now, because if you don't, you're going to watch it next year when nothing is coming out and you want to watch something new. So why don't you watch it now on the big screen and not regret it?
Yeah. Go see Gran Turismo. Go see Blue Beetle this weekend.
Yeah, I'm skipping Gran Turismo. Dude, I'm actually upset that Blomkamp wasted an entire outing on that. He, from the man who brought you District 9, Elysium, Chappie, comes Gran Turismo. Who cares?
I wonder how popular that's going to be internationally.
Give me District 10. I've been waiting on District 10. Dude, it blows my mind. But yeah, we're out of here. Until next time, guys. As always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.